Hello guys, welcome back to another Unity CH tutorial. In the last video, we learned a bit about the Unity UI, and now we're going to learn a bit more about the Unity UI. So without further ado, let's get right into it. First things first, let's look once again into the UI. We're going to come here down to UI. So last time we learned text and button. We're going to skip image because it's really easy and simple to figure out. We're gonna be looking at the slider for today. Well, let's look what's inside the slider. So once we create our slider, you're gonna see it looks exactly, well, pretty much like a slider. So first thing you're gonna notice is that you can scroll this way. Let me show you what you can do. You can make the slider bigger and make the slider smaller. So first things first, you can change the color of the slider. I want to make it green, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come to background, right? And I'm gonna change the color to the background. And let's say make it green. So now, as you can see, it's green. But once I scroll on top of it, it's white again. So in order to fix that, we have to change the fill area. And come to fill and change the color to maybe, let's say, a more darker green. Something like that, right? So now, right now it's not filled at all. And as soon as it comes, it gets darker. So let's say I want my slider to be like that, and I want my handle. We can come to handle, and you can change that to, let's say, a red color, right? So now I know it's not the perfect slider, but we don't really want the perfect slider right now. It's just a test. So we have the color scheme of our slider. For the background, you click background. For the fill area, for the filling. Once it's slid on, the fill over here, yeah, you go to fill area and click fill. And for the handle itself, go to handle slide area and click handle. So that's how you change the color of the slider. But you want to see, how can I actually use the slider? Right now, as you can see, the slider doesn't really do anything. All it does is just scroll up and down. But what you will see inside of the slider is that oh, sorry, I was just looking for where it was. Right over here, you'll see value. And you'll also see min value and max value. Now, these are really simple. So when I come over here, as you can see, that slider is also changing. So this is going to show you the value of how much the slider is changing. So maybe you can use this value in like a game to set how much your music is. So like the value will go higher the more it goes. But now you're gonna think, wait, it's always at 1. What if my music value goes from 1 to 100? How are we supposed to use that? Or maybe my music goes from 10 to 20, not from 1 to 100, or whatever you're using. There is no 0. So for that, you can change the min value and the max value. If I make the max value, let's say 100. Right now the max value is going to be 100 and the min value is going to be 0. Right? But what I can also do is I can change the minimum value to, let's say, 10. So now the minimum value is always going to be 10 and the max value is going to be 100. So now that we've got that out of the way, let's look what will happen right over here. What we can do is we can add a function. Remember the button? The button was the exact same thing. There was something like that says on click. But now this is the on value change. So what I can do is I can add something over here like a function. So for now, let's create a function. So I'm gonna go and create a CH script. I'm gonna name it slit, something like that, right? And we're gonna come over here and open it. So just like the button, what we're gonna do is we're not gonna keep the public start and public void. We're gonna change that to, let's say, I'll give it our own function. Let's give it a name, public slide. I spelled slide wrong. Slide, and that's gonna be our function, right? We're gonna give it everything a function needs, and our function is here, public void slide, right? So now that we've got our function out of the way, let's look what will happen. You can type something like every time it slides, whatever you want it to do. For now, I'm just gonna debug dot log that it slides. We're gonna go in the console and say it slides. Okay, so we're gonna slide, that's the name, and semicolon. So now we're gonna test it out if it's gonna work. So we're gonna save, we're gonna stop our game for now, we're gonna come to our slider, everything reset because it was running, but for now we don't really care. So we're gonna come to our slider, we're gonna drag the script on, we're gonna add an object of the slider, and come to slid, which is the script that we made, and we're gonna grab the function slide. So now let's look what will happen. So now I'm gonna come press the play button, right? As you can see, nothing is happening. There's no message over here. And as soon as I slide, I even clicked it, but there's no message. But as soon as I slide, it's gonna give a message. And then when I slide more, the more I slide, the more times it's gonna send the message. Now, as you can see, this will be really useful. Like every time it slides, you can maybe send a function to set the slide value over here to your music value, something like that, right? Now we're gonna do exactly that, and first things first, we're gonna, let's say, give it a name. Get an instance of our slider, right? Public. We're gonna do public. Either there are two ways to do this. I recommend the second way, but I'm gonna show you the wrong way first. It's not wrong, but it's like the more complicated way. What you can do is public Unity engine dot UI dot slider. But usually what we're gonna do is we're gonna come over here and we're gonna type using Unity engine dot UI in the beginning, press semicolon. And what we can do, as you can see, there's no arrow on this. That means it will work, but it's not recommended. So we're gonna come here and we're gonna just give public slider. Now we can do that because we got you know how in C++ there was hash include? Over here there's using. So we did using slider, and we're gonna give it a name. Let's say inst underscore slide, instantiate the instance of a slider. That's what I mean. So now we have the instance of a slider. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna do inst underscore slid